We live in a fast world where childhoods are short and adulthoods are monotonous. We live in a world where there's no time for bhakti, no time for yourself. We live in a world where nobody is trying to preserve true knowledge. We live in a world which often mistakes wisdom for habit and culture. And that is why it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Sukritya Khatiwada, a third generation Vedic expert of his family, a flag bearer of Rudraksha and Sanatana knowledge, a Gen Z who has chosen legacy over trends, who has chosen to do something timeless in a world that does not stop.
I know where the Rudraksha is coming from. I can map the Rudraksha to that particular branch of that tree from where the Rudraksha came from. It's easier for me to come here and make this claim, but it's not because I started it. It's because we have been doing it for 3 generations.
One Mukhi does exist.
Absolutely, it does exist. There are multiple variants of one Mukhi Rudraksha from Nepal. There is one very rare form of one Mukhi which only has one face and one compartment, but that's extremely rare. The texture of that particular bead is very similar to that of the Nirakar. Nirakar again is a very rare and exclusive Rudraksha which is even not seen by vendors and hence claimed to be non-existent.
My spiritual journey is not impacted so much by social media, but I still gain the knowledge that I want.
Yeah.
How do I ensure that my intentions are pure?
You don't let everyone enter and sleep in your bed, right? The way you filter those is the way you interact with the world as well. When we let any form of social media interaction trigger us and allow us to change the way we behave and change our relationship with the God, then you are also part of the problem because you are allowing an external nobody to change your course of sadhana. We want, as Nepa Rudraksha, the members, the team members, everyone has one wish. All of us desire the same thing, and that is your change, your transformation. When a customer is happy and satisfied and when their life is enriched, I think the blessings is the greatest currency that any business owner can receive.
First question I have is from when you explained Pranapratishtha. I always feel that Rudraksh is living. It has a consciousness, and that consciousness somehow is connecting me not just with Shiva, but also with something within me. That connection, so from my understanding, Pranapratishtha basically is letting the Rudraksh know that, okay, this is for me, right?
Okay, yeah.
So now my connection is with this Rudraksh. So how does it happen? Is it specific to a person's gotra or their name, or can I also set some intention?
All 3. So, when a Pranapratishtha is performed, any puja is performed, there is a portion known as the Sankalpa, which is the most important. Sankalpa is like a bond, or Sankalpa is like a contract with the deity that you are making, right? In the Sankalpa, the things that are very important are your names, right? What is the name of the wearer? It's very common for people to include their extensive family's name in the puja so that everyone receives the blessing of the Rudraksha that is being brought home. Then the gotra, if known, is important. If not, then the rashi of the person, the day of the birth, the place of the birth, and the time of the birth, we're able to extract these information about the nakshatra, about the gotra, about the rashi, about the lagna of the individual where the puja is being performed. So yes, Rudraksha already has that static energy, but think of Pranapratishtha or think of any kind of energization as the way where that static energy is made into a kinetic energy, but is also given a direction of where it needs to head, and that direction is you.
And this knowledge is also coming from some scripture.
Absolutely. This is a Vedic puja. This is a Vedic Pranapratishtha. This is a Vedic knowledge, Vedic Karma Kanda.
That's wonderful. It's so interesting to me that our Veds and our Purans have taken care of everything. So it's not that they've provided you a tool for transformation. They've also provided you a roadmap how to select that tool. They've also provided you with knowledge to activate that tool, and then they've also given you knowledge on to how to use that tool.
That is because Vedas are meant as a guideline for you, for your entire life. If you read Shiva Purana, right? Which is not a Ved, but it's a Puran, which is derived from the knowledge of Ved. There's a small technical difference or technical, difference in that. But if you read the Shiva Puran, it will even teach you how to shower, right? How should you shower? Where should you pour the water? How should you rub the soap? All of these basic information of how to shower is even provided to you. Then using a tool, you must imagine the extent of the knowledge that is available to you.
That's how Sanatana
Yes.
surprises you. Uh, and I've been getting to know a bit more about Shiv Puran since you used the word from the Nepa Rudraksha community, but we'll circle back to that after my next question. The next question is, like you said, that you've learned from your grandfather the value of consultation, the value of knowledge, how to preserve that knowledge, how to pass it on. And then when you spoke about transparency right now, do you feel that all of the core values of Nepa Rudraksha actually comes from the three generations rather than from now?
Absolutely. The core is the foundation, the core value of commitment to authenticity, commitment to the practices, the Vedic practice, and the commitment to satisfaction of our customers, looking at our customers as gods, right? My grandmother, Ma Lakshmi, late Ma Lakshmi Khatiwada, always said and always believed that anyone can open a shop, anyone can open their doors to a customer, but customer is sent by God, right? Anyone can start a business today, anyone can start a service today, but who gets access to the customer? That is God. And God only sends customers your way if you're doing the right thing, right? So that valuing customer or any client at Nepa Rudraksha as people sent to you by Lord Shiva himself, that changes everything. That's a huge perspective shifter. That's one of our core values. The value of authenticity. My grandfather always taught my father, taught me that whatever you do, do the real thing. The real thing works. That's the reason we did a huge campaign on saying Nepa Rudraksha is real Rudraksha, because the word real is very important to us. Real puja, real Rudraksha, real knowledge, real history, real generations, right? And the third value of Vedic value, understanding what you're doing. See, you can help a person, but you can help a person only if you know what you're doing. I can give you direction, but I need to know the direction that I'm sending you, or else you'll go the wrong way. So, Vedic knowledge is a core of our core belief. So, yes, while the core has always been evolving, because, like I said earlier, you must always continue to evolve yourself, transform yourself, keep yourself up to date to meet the needs of today. The values that you carry has been at Nepa Rudraksha has been carried through generations, and it's only getting stronger. That is that's my assurance that the value that we create, the value that we're carrying from generations, I will continue to work to make it stronger, and hopefully the future generations that will take the torch forward will continue to make the values stronger and more, powerful.
Let's understand it a bit more. When you said real is a word that's misused so much, and I really like that you're trying to not just use the word, but provide enough evidence to support the word. So let's go one by one. When you say real Rudraksh, you talk about authenticity. How does a customer really know?
Yeah. So, see, a lot of the things used to happen as trust, right? Hey, trust me, I'm giving you a real Rudraksha. But today, I want to ensure that while I know that trust is a huge thing, I want to ensure that the trust can be validated. That's the reason every single Rudraksha at Nepa Rudraksha comes with a lifetime money back authenticity guarantee, as well as a completely third party independent x-ray report of that particular bead, right? So, and we also provide you as a customer with the option to cross validate your Rudrakshas at any lab in the world, and your authenticity guarantee will remain. So You can't do beyond that. What I'm telling you is your Rudraksha is authentic. You have a lifetime. You don't have 7 days, 10 days, 40 days. You have lifetime to validate that authenticity. And you don't have to trust my reports. You can cross verify your Rudraksha at any lab in the world, and your authenticity will still be valid. No one in the world is able to, has been able to do this. The only vendor in the entire world to do this is Nepa Rudraksha. And I'm so proud of that. And the reason it makes me proud is because the reason I'm able to do this is because I know my practice. I know where the Rudraksha is coming from. I can map the Rudraksha to that particular branch of that tree from where the Rudraksha came from. That's the level of IT engineering. That's the level of supply chain engineering that goes into bringing your Rudraksha. A lot of people get confused. Why is Rudraksha so valuable? Rudraksha is rarer than diamonds. Nepal itself is a small country. Out of Nepal, the sacred bhumi of Arun Valley is where we deal our Rudrakshas from. In Arun Valley, even if all the trees, let's consider all the trees in Arun Valley are Rudraksha trees, even that is not enough for 1 billion Hindus worldwide. That's the rarity of Rudraksha. And to be able to map out that particular tree, that branch, and to be able to understand, validate, and provide you with the highest quality of Rudraksha and with the certification, that's what we have done in 3 generations. That's the work of a lifetime of late Mr. Balram Khatiwada. That's the work that my father has always been doing for more than 50 years. And that's the work that I'm taking forward. So it's easier for me to come here and make this claim, but it's not because I started it 10 years ago. It's because we have been doing it for 3 generations that it's easy for me to come and make this claim today.
So you only source the Rudraksh from one Arun Valley in Nepal, correct?
Yes.
Now, from what I understand, Rudraksha are natural. They'll grow on their own. There's nothing we can actually do to choose the Mukhi that is going to be grown, or what is the quality of it. Then how do you grade the Rudraksh? Because I have a plus grade, right? And I was really happy to get it. So how do you actually do it?
So the A plus grade system was actually introduced by Nepa Rudraksha in 2021, right? The A plus grade quality certification was actually introduced by Nepa Rudraksha in the early 2000s. And later in 2021, we introduced the triple A certification, authenticity, Arun Valley, A plus grade. Right? We just coined this term to make it easier for our customers to understand what they're actually getting. When you say A plus grade, there are several different aspects that goes into A plus grade, which is the weight of the Rudraksha, the symmetry of the Rudraksha, the clarity of the Mukhi, and the quality of the overall bead, right? So Arun Valley itself is very small, but there are several thousands of 5 Mukhi Rudraksha, for example, that comes out of it. To be able to find A plus grade 5 Mukhi from 1,000, 5 Mukhis is very difficult because it needs to be symmetrical. It needs to have the proper weight to size ratio. For example, if it's a 30 bead, which is a collector size bead, which is almost a super collector size Rudraksha, it needs to be at least 3 grams and above. Right? So you have several different calculations which we have come up with to ensure that the Rudraksha will remain durable, to ensure that the Rudraksha will last you for generations. Because like I said, I wear my grandfather's Rudraksha, and anyone that wears Rudraksha from Nepa Rudraksha should be able to pass it down to their families, right? So you're actually not only wearing your Rudraksha, but you're also creating your sadhana package for your future generations when you wear a Rudraksha. So that's the reason A plus grade is very important. And even in my book, I go into extensive details about what this A plus grade really is and how the calculations are done and how we validate that the Rudrakshas that come from Nepa Rudraksha are A plus grade Rudrakshas.
Yeah, so the first A is authenticity, and you're providing a certification, third party certification with the X-ray report as well. Then the other one is Arun Valley, and then the third one is A plus grade. What is really interesting to me is you're providing AAA standard, right? You're also giving a lifetime money back guarantee on authenticity. And I've seen how strongly you feel about a person who does not want the Rudraksh, for the Rudraksh to not be with that person. So I've seen that feeling in you that you don't want your Rudrakshas to be with somebody who's probably not wanting it. All of that, and you yet remain the world's largest collector. How do you do it?
Yeah. So again, it's easy for me to say, how do I do it? But I do it because we have been doing it for a long, long, long time, right? Back in the days, Rudraksha, to be able to bring Rudraksha from Arun Valley to Kathmandu itself was a huge challenge. And my grandfather was one of the pioneers of building the infrastructure, building the process of bringing Rudraksha from Arun Valley to Pashupati, which is in Kathmandu, right? Which is where we used to provide these Rudrakshas. From that time to today, the suppliers, the farmers that we work with have always been the same family of farmers. Just like I, from my grandfather, the grandson of Balaram, the late Balaram Khatiwada is working, the grandson of the farmer is working with me now, right? And we have a very tight knit family. Yes, Nepa Rudraksha does have their own farms, but for me to claim that all the Rudraksha in the world grows in my farm is as if I'm manufacturing Rudraksha. No one can manufacture Rudraksha. See, I can have the largest farm in the world, and maybe I do have one of the largest farms, Rudraksha farms in Arun Valley, but not every Rudraksha can come from my farm. No one can decide where the Rudraksha can come from, but you need to have sources. You need to have that network, that supply chain to be able to find and locate that tree where that particular Rudraksha is growing. And then we have all the process of ensuring that the tree, grows the Rudraksha adequately. The Rudraksha spends enough time in the nature, and the Rudraksha comes out A+ grade, and then we test it, and then we provide it to our clients. So, it's a huge work. And yes, Nepa Rudraksha is the world's largest collector of Rudraksha. We openly claim that any higher Mukhi Rudraksha, above 14 Mukhi Rudraksha, Nepa Rudraksha has the largest collection of in the world. So if you, for example, wanted a 21 Mukhi Rudraksha, we would have the largest option. What would the largest option be like? It would be probably 3 or 4 21 Mukhis, because 21 Mukhi is very rare to begin with. But still, we would be the largest. And that is not coming out of ego. It's coming out of pride, humility, and it's coming out of utmost humbleness. And it's because we have been doing this for 3 generations that we're able to reach this point. You're seeing the result of what my ancestors have, led me to.
So, largest collector, out of curiosity, which is the highest Mukhi that you've seen? Rare Rudraksh, exclusive Rudraksh. If you can tell us some stories about them.
Back in 2008, my father provided a 29 Mukhi Rudraksha to a Sadhak in India, in Ahmedabad, India. Like I said, I don't go into personal details, but that is what my father did, and I was able to be blessed to witness that Rudraksha. It was a very beautiful, a little bit of a circular shaped, because when the Rudrakshas grow into higher Mukhis, it tends to be a little bit curved. There was a slightly curved and a darker shade 29 Mukhi Rudraksha that my father was able to be fortunate to provide this sadhak with. Right now, the highest Mukhi Rudraksha that we have in our collection as of today, in November of 2025, is the 27 Mukhi Rudraksha, is the rarest and the highest Mukhi Rudraksha that we currently have. But like I said, Purva, these are very rare Rudrakshas, and you need to have that in your destiny for you to be able to really wear or see or do a darshan of these beads. And I'm very blessed to have access to be able to see these Rudrakshas. Maybe 2 years ago, I did create one of the world's rarest mala that has ever been created till this day, which is the Shiva Shakti mala, which has from Nirakar to 26 Mukhi Rudraksha. So it's a Shiva Shakti mala, which was created by Nepa Rudraksha. So these, opportunities come to you when you are the largest, collector in the world.
You also have 8 Siddhamalas, correct? And each of the Siddhamala is beautifully made to just cater to very specific things in a
Correct.
person, but at the same time also cater to everything.
Yeah.
The holisticness of it. When I read about what a Siddhamala can do, how did that idea came about?
So it's very arrogant of me or anyone to claim that they came up with Siddhamala. Siddhamala, the word Siddhamala has always been there. In Sanatan Dharma, a lot of knowledge come from Vedas. Some knowledge also comes from Shruti and Smriti, meaning, verbally. It's been passed down through ages and ages and ages. So anyone who was always wearing Rudraksha was always wearing a Siddhamala, Rudraksha Mala. Rarely people say Rudraksha. A lot of people say Rudraksha Mala. Rudraksha Mala was always Siddhamala is what they were referring to if that mala came from Nepal, right? So there are 8 forms of Siddhamala depending on your journey and your particular need. It can be based on your birth chart. It can be based on your sadhana. It can be based on the deity that you want to worship, the sadhana that you want to do. So starting from the basic Siddhamala, which is from 1 Mukhi all the way to 14 Mukhi Gauri Shankar Ganesh. You have the Sarva Siddha Mala, which takes into account 15 and 16 Mukhi Rudraksha. There is then the Karya Siddha Mala, which has 1 through 17. There is also an addition of Nandi Rudraksha on the 17 Mukhi Rudraksha, on the Karya Siddha Mala. Then there's the Gayatri Siddha Mala, 1 through 18 Mukhi Rudraksha. There is the Mahamrityunjaya Siddha Mala, which is 1 through 19 Mukhi Rudraksha. There is the Brahma Siddha Mala, which is 1 through 20 Mukhi Rudraksha. There is the Indra Mala, which is 1 through 21, Trijuti, Nirakar, all the Rudrakshas available until 21 Mukhi Rudraksha. And lastly, there is the Shiva Shakti Mala. The Shiva Shakti Mala does not have an end to it. We're celebrating the cosmic dance of Shiv and Shakti. We don't know which Rudrakshas are going to be available. We have never seen, for example, 40 Mukhi Rudraksha, but Devi Bhagavad Purana says there is 40 forms of Rudraksha. There's 38 forms of Rudrakshas, right? So these Rudrakshas have never been available to us. But if they were available and anyone would wear it, it would be part of the Shiva Shakti Mala. So Shiva Shakti Mala does not have an end to it. But until the Indra Mala, the terms are very defined. So there are these 8 forms of Siddha Mala. And what you wear depends on your level of evolution and your level of transformation.
I heard somewhere that somebody, I'm very surprised to know that Siddhamalas, Indramala, the knowledge of that has always existed. So that's very good to know that, again, whatever scriptures were given to me, whatever Veds were given to us, plenty of knowledge. Do you still feel in today's time that that knowledge has not been consumed?
I think it is being consumed by the people who have the hunger for it, right? If you're not into that field, you might feel like people are not consuming this knowledge. But what I see day in and day out is a lot of people are starting their journey of Rudrakshas. Every single day, I find people from all over the world starting their journey of Rudraksha. Today, someone has started a journey of their Indramala. Yesterday someone has started their journey of the Sarvasiddha Mala. A lot of the people are starting their journey. And this is a small, sadhana is very intensive. Rudraksha is a sacred knowledge. It's not a mass knowledge. You have to be of a certain, certain level of a certain spiritual, you need to have certain form of spiritual evolution and spiritual inclination. But there are a lot of people who have that, and a lot of people from different walks of life. You might view someone as a normal doctor, but they might be wearing the Indramala, and that's very, very true. People from all walks of life wear Rudraksha, and it might be more than what we imagine.
So, it's true. Like when you read about the malas, when you see people wearing it, you see the transformation. The stories are wonderful. But like you said, there's been 29 Mukhi. So I'm still trying to come back to that. How many Mukhis can there be?
So, according to Devi Bhagavad Purana, there is 38 forms of Mukhis, 38 forms of Rudrakshas, but we have not seen that yet. What I think is it's just like Kalki avatar of Vishnu, which is not incarnated yet because the time has not arrived. We're probably not ready for the Rudrakshas that are available to us. While the Devi Bhagavad Puran mentions about the 38 forms of Rudraksha, we've rarely seen up until 29. So we've not even seen 30 Mukhi Rudraksha ever in Nepal, right? So I'm excited, but I'm also aware that it will become available only when the sadhak is ready for it. Some sadhak in the world, in one corner of the world today, if they're able and they're ready for the 30 Mukhi Rudraksha, then the 30 Mukhi Rudraksha will be available next year. If there's no one ready, then it won't be. That's the reason 5 Mukhi Rudraksha is the most available Rudraksha in the world, because all of us need direction, Guru, Jupiter, right? All of us need basic knowledge. That's the reason God is providing us with 5 Mukhis. How many people are there who are really ready to be Kuber, right? What does being a Kuber mean? What does wearing a 21 Mukhi mean? It does not mean that all the world's wealth comes to you. What it means is, if all the world's wealth were to come to you, you would be responsible. You would be ready to be the treasurer. Kuber is not, enjoying or going to Bahamas and partying. Kuber is the treasurer of the wealth. So if you're responsible, if you have that dharmic sanatani, that responsibility, that ethics in you, then you're ready for the 21 Mukhi Rudraksha. The people who wear 21 Mukhi Rudraksha, they live for others more than themselves.
Wow. That's one way to look at it. I always feel like whenever I talk to you, there's some bit of extra knowledge that I've just learned that day. So maybe this is that. But it also confuses me again because of the massive amount of information that is there. Like you said, one Mukhi, Nirakar, and then 29 Mukhi. I've read a lot about how people can manipulate them. The entire Chinese controversy theory. How do you at Nepa Rudraksha ensure that you don't fall prey to that? Or what do you say to that actually?
So these Rudrakshas that are being claimed, a lot of them are Indonesian Rudraksha. So a buyer must be very careful. What I'm saying here, the 29, the 27 Mukhis, I'm talking about a Nepali Rudraksha, okay? I'm not talking about any other origin Rudrakshas. In the industry today, in the market today, unfortunately, there are vendors who are selling Indonesian Rudrakshas and claiming it to be a Nepali origin, which is very sad. But I always believe that, we should never talk negatively about anyone, right? It's just that we must be aware that these kind of practices are happening. And as a buyer, we must choose our, source responsibly. We must do the due diligent research. And we also must be able to say that, okay, later down the line, if I'm able to verify this anywhere else, I'm confident that my verification will result into something tangible. You should not buy from a source which is not going to be there in 5 years, right? Anyone can claim anything in the internet today, but you really need to ensure that the domain that you are purchasing from, the Rudraksha vendor that you're purchasing from, is actually trustworthy and actually authentic. So the 31 Mukhi Rudraksha that you are referring to is most likely or definitely an Indonesian Rudraksha. Indonesian Rudrakshas do have multiple Mukhis, much more Mukhis, because they are, the size of your fingernail, which can have, any amount of Mukhis in it. But Nepali Rudraksha, a 29 Mukhi Rudraksha, is the highest that it's ever been.
So there's Indonesian Rudraksha, then there's Indian Rudraksha, and then there's Nepali Rudraksha. You've spoken about the difference quite a lot, but let's do a rapid fire.
Yeah.
If is there some difference in terms of who can use Nepali Rudraksha? So we'll go Indonesian, Indian, and then Nepali, and we'll go one by one. So the difference in who can wear.
Yeah, Indonesian is for jewelry. It's more for looks. It's more when you see someone wearing a very small, tiny bracelet of tiny Rudrakshas, that is Indonesian. Worn more for looks rather than sadhana. If you see actors wearing a single thread, Rudraksha chain, those are more Indonesian Rudrakshas. Nepali Rudraksha is always larger, worn for sadhana, for spiritual purpose, for change. And Indian Rudrakshas, India rarely has Rudraksha. It's 2 forms of Rudraksha that come out of India. One is the one-mukhi moon shape, the Kaju Rudraksha that you call it, which is often not considered to be Rudraksha, but is sometimes sold as a one mukhi, which is not Nepali Rudraksha, which also again serves an more of an aesthetic and bhakti purpose. Second, from Haridwar, the two mukhi Rudraksha, which is very different from the two mukhi from Nepal, but is much more widely available and extremely cost effective as well. So these are the two Rudraksha that come out of India, and Nepal has the larger, the Rudrakshas that are used by sadhana, for transformation and for change. So if you're wearing Rudraksha for a purpose, Nepali Rudraksha. If you're wearing Rudraksha to show, for jewelry, for aesthetics, for decoration, for paintings, for decorations, for items, Indonesian Rudraksha. If you're wearing a Rudraksha from a vendor, you must be careful that they don't mix the Indian Rudraksha in. So Indian Rudraksha is something that is mixed by vendors to show for their purpose, because it saves them cost, it does not give you any benefit. So a lot of the vendors use one mukhi kaju as the centerpiece in their malas, and that is just cost saving for them.
So one mukhi does exist actually.
Absolutely, it does exist, and it's such a surprise that it's still a debate or still a question that whether one mukhi exists or not. It definitely exists. It's not a myth. It's not that there's a strange bird out there which flies and just picks on a one mukhi Rudraksha. It's very rare, so it's very common for even vendors to not have ever seen a one mukhi. So that's definitely there, and it can definitely make them curious as well. But having worked on this for years, and having the images as well as the real Rudraksha with us, we know that one Mukhi Rudraksha does exist. There are multiple variants of one Mukhi Rudraksha from Nepal. There is one Mukhi Savar. There is one Mukhi Moon Shape, which is also known as the naturally detached one Mukhi Savar. We also have the one Mukhi round from Nepal, which is underdeveloped, five mukhi. Now, again, this is again a personal take, right? Back in the days when there was no X-raying Rudraksha, the one mukhi that is now considered to be underdeveloped, was considered to be one mukhi by even the advanced sadhaks, because they didn't know that inside there are multiple compartments, because what the world shows us, what nature shows us, is just one mukhi. So who are we to x-ray and validate it? But now we're validating it, and now the term that has been coined is, okay, it's maybe an underdeveloped, it's maybe five mukhis that never grew out to be five mukhi. But if it was a five mukhi, it would have five mukhis, is what my understanding is. I consider that to be a pure Rudraksha, but it's one mukhi underdeveloped in today's language, and I respect that, and that is how we market it as well, if anyone is interested. And there is one very rare form of one mukhi which only has one face and one compartment, but that's extremely rare. The texture of that particular bead is very similar to that of the Nirakar. Nirakar again is a very rare and exclusive Rudraksha, which is often even not seen by vendors, and hence claimed to be, non-existent, nearly non-existent because of the rarity. But Nirakar is more widely found than one Mukhi Rudraksha. Any and every one in Nepal can have access and can see the one Nirakar Rudraksha. The texture of Nirakar Rudraksha and the texture of one Mukhi Rudraksha very similar. It's a very unique texture. We can put that on visually for people to be able to see on the screens. But for me to explain it to you here, it might be difficult.
Yeah, we will do that. And for everyone, one Mukhi Nepali Rudraksha exists, a Nirakar Nepali Rudraksha exists. Believe in X-ray reports, believe in scriptures, believe in information, facts rather than myths.
And believe in something that you can cross-validate. It should not be believe in a particular person, believe in a particular organization. Believe in them, but have the rights and have the ability to later in the future be able to validate it.
That's actually true. When you're talking about the 29 Mukhi, and I'm going to go back a bit here, you talked about Kalki. I've been very fascinated with the entire story for a very long time. And then I saw other people get interested in it too, because suddenly the Indian cinema was talking about Kaliyug. They were talking about the coming of Kalki. They were talking about stories that are deep rooted in Sanatana. So you see this, entire wave of sudden emotion in young people, and that's why I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you because you are not a part of that wave. You have been talking about Sanatan wisdom for such a long time. And when you talk about it, you've actually read. You have understood the scriptures. You have done your effort. You've done your homework. You don't come from a way that, okay, I've watched this movie, so now I understand this topic. Or, I've learned these four mantras, whose translation and meaning I might not know, but now I know Sanatan. So, a very biased question. What is Kalyug? And how do you, because Kalyug has been not explained just in Sanatana, but in multiple religions in a very different format. The end is coming. But the way Sanatana explains it, to me, that's very personal for some reason.
Yeah.
But I always wonder, when this was written, it was a different yug. It was a different understanding. Like you said, that people are not ready. There's no sadhak ready for a 31 mukhi, or a bigger Rudraksh than that. Maybe we are not ready to understand what people in Treta Yuga or Satyuga were ready to understand. So now, how do I, sitting here, very conscious of the fact that I'm living in Kali Yuga. So there is a path for me yet to take. There's something left there. There are answers to be found. How do I use Sanatana, the wisdom, the literature? If people don't want to believe in faith, the literature. How do I use all of that to navigate my way today, when every newspaper has horrible news for me to read? Whenever I open any social media website, I am face to face with cruelty that surpasses whatever news I'd heard yesterday. May it be human on human, the way people are treating women, the way animals are being mistreated, the way we have just disconnected from nature. We have forgotten coexistence, co-living. How do I navigate that world? And how do I use Sanatana to do it?
Yeah, this is definitely a very important topic for us to be discussing, and it's the reality today, right? Let's just zoom out a little bit. In Sanatana Dharma, there is four yugas: Satya, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali Yuga. The four yugas, or the eras, or the what do you call it, is a time frame. When you look at a yug, you must look at it as the environment around you, right? In Satya Yug, the environment around you is full of sattvic, full of satyata, right? Similar to that, in Kali Yug, it's filled with the things that you just said, filled with fear, filled with hate, filled with anger, filled with jealousy. But the yug that you live in today, that's the environment, but you can create your own reality, right? You yourself don't have to be your environment. You yourself can be different from the surroundings in you. In Kali Yuga, definitely more people are towards the tendencies and towards the energies of Kali Yuga than towards the energies and towards the tendency of Satya Yuga, right? The tamasic is definitely the leading force in Kali Yuga. That's the reason you will not see a billionaire, Sattvic, founder. You'll probably see a billionaire who's dealing in substances or dealing in products that influence and grow the tamasic guns that you just said about, because that goes to show that the flow is more towards the Kali Yuga. But it does not mean that there is no ray of hope for you. Actually, what has been said is, in Kali Yuga, even the slightest or even the most minimal of mantras or minimal of sadhanas can give you the results that it took years and years and years and years and years of tapas in Satya Yuga, right? Because the environment around you in Satya Yuga was such that everyone was in that direction. So for you to reach that direction was probably, it was difficult. God is always kind, right? We've always known that God is kind and he wants us to transform. In Kaliyuga, even the word Ram, if someone is aware of that word, they're able to transform. So the transformation, the spiritual upliftment in Kali Yuga is actually easier. So it's not just all bad. Definitely, for you to be able to sit down and meditate today is more difficult than ever, right? The horns, the way you live, the apartment, maybe you live in a congested place, maybe the family, the resources, the knowledge. Even if you know that the word meditation exists, I think you're already one of the elites of Kali Yuga, right? If you know the word Om or Ram exists, you're already one of the elites of Kali Yuga. So, if you're already listening to this conversation, I think you're definitely already in a pretty good place in Kali Yuga. Yes, the environment around us is all about all negative. The way we're treating each other is more cruel than ever. There's no forms of coexistence. Yesterday, I was having this conversation with a very dear person of mine that the tree gives us oxygen, but what we're cutting is the tree. And it's the extent of what Kali Yuga is. But at the same time, you can be the one that plants it as well. It's not that the soil has stopped working. You must plant it, right? Yes, the cutting is more than the plantation, but do your part and plant it. Yes, the world around you is full of Kali Yuga, but you can go ahead and do your prayers. Yes, the world today is buying high fashion jewelry. You can probably wear a 5 Mukhi Rudraksha and start your journey. So the choice is there. Even if you are in Kali Yuga, you do have the choice to become Sattvic.
That's true. Very controversial opinion, but we'll talk about this. When we talk about understanding God, when we talk about accepting their existence and trying to move towards them, maybe within us or through some external means, one of the most, say, stark or potent, prominent ideology in Kali Yuga is, and this also comes from a place that I'm a girl that lives in India, who's active on social media and who's also very compassionate to animals. So all of that together works in a very different manner. But whenever there's a reply on my social media, which is not something I would want to discuss, and I click on the profile, it's unfortunately 75 to 80% somebody who has written Jai Shri Ram or Har Har Mahadev or Bajrang Bali ki Jai Ho. Now, before, when I was much younger, my reaction was to run away from my religion, which now I've understood is not the right way to go. And then when I became angry about it, when I understood my religion, I became very angry. I was like, you cannot be doing this. You cannot be using God's name. You cannot be using something so pure, something only meant for your betterment in such a way. Now I've come to the point that I've just accepted and I let it be. But according to you, that brings up the bigger question: intention and what you're doing. So, what is the correlation between intention and action? And how does, this also comes from a biasness, but I feel Rudraksh, for me at least, kind of made a bridge between the two. But I don't understand how that happened.
Yeah. In Bhagavad Gita, what is written is the most important thing, the only thing that can be controlled by you is your intention. See, your karma, there is a lot of, we often misunderstand Bhagavad Gita by saying that karma, you only should do karma and you should never expect your result. That's not entirely true. What is being said is the only control you have is in your karma. You don't have control over your outcome. I would take it even way forward and say that the only, even you don't have control over how your karma plays out to be, right? You might want to pour this water into a glass and give it to me, but you might spill it in my, in my pants. If I'm mad at you, I am not looking at your intention. Your intention was actually for you to give me a glass of water, right? The fumble happened because of various different circumstances, which was out of your intention. So intentions is very important. And whatever you are doing, see, the things that you referred to, a lot of the times, what I've seen unfortunately happen is people use religion as more of a identity shield rather than a practice and intention. That's the reason we are starting to see a wave of new generations which is claiming to be not religious, claiming to not be associated with God, and claiming to believe in the universe instead. That is again going away from the responsibilities of what a religion is. Religion or Sanatan Dharma is not about just taking the name of God, but taking the name of God is important. It's not just that, but it's important. See, we're comparing two different things. Just because someone takes the name of God does not mean that their intention is pure. The name of God is a part of Sanatana Dharma, not the entirety of it. You must have pure intentions. You must be able to take the name of God as mantra, right? You must not take the name of God and be doing all the different kind of things that you just explained to me. At the same time, you can't say that you don't believe that any of these exist. Your practices must be true and your intentions must be true as well. When you take your practice and intentions together, then that is where the transformation happens. That's the reason Rudraksha is very important, is because it gives you that belief. Yoga, union with the divine, right? That's the entire purpose of a human life, is to unionize, to find yoga. One of the most important yogas in our Sanatana Dharma is Bhakti yoga. But because of the things that you just mentioned, to develop bhakti, to develop devotion today is very difficult. Rudraksha gives you a sense of energy and gives you a sense of hope that yes, something bigger than me does exist. Something beyond does exist. And our Sanatana Dharma gives you the ways where you can connect to it. So yes, it does bridge the gap, but it's very unfortunate that some people use the name of God and their intentions are not pure. Just because you use the name of God does not mean that you can do anything. You must be responsible for your actions. Therefore, it brings me to a slightly different concept. If you're I wish that every and anyone can deal with Rudraksha. It's something that the more the people are aware of Rudraksha, the better the world will become. But I also want to ensure and make people aware that it's a huge responsibility. It's not just a commerce transaction. Please be mindful of your intentions and serve the people as if they were sent to you by God, and then you will see that your business and your practice will grow.
That's so. Intention is very important. And one thing I realized even when I was telling you the problem is that I let my relationship with my God, whosoever that God may be, whosoever I believe in, I let it be impacted by the actions of a third person. And that is when I realized, oh, well, you were a part of the problem. So, how do I ensure that I'm not impacted so much? Like, my spiritual journey is not impacted so much by social media, uh, but I still gain the knowledge that I want.
Yeah.
How do I ensure that my intentions are pure?
See, that's the reason one of the things that anyone who does sadhana is always taught. The first rule, if you must say, is that you treat your mind as your home or as your room, right? You don't let everyone enter and sleep in your bed, right? You have a certain code of conduct of who you want to let into your house, right? The way you filter those is the way you interact with the world as well. So when we let any form of social interaction, social media interaction trigger us and allow us to change the way we behave and change our relationship with the God, then you are also part of the problem, because you're allowing an external nobody to change your course of sadhana. In Kaliyuga, especially, we talked about Kaliyuga, it is meant to be. It is definitely going to be harder for you to be sattvic, right? If you're about to do a donation, the person that you are about to do donation to might be rude to you, right? If you give 5 rupees, they might, for example, I'm just saying an example. If you give 5 rupees, they might ask you for 10, right? And you might feel so pissed that I mean, 5 rupees also does not go to them. So your entire intention of doing a good act is disrupted. So you must be able to understand that the reason we do our practices for ourselves, and we also need to understand that the only thing in our control is our intention and is ourself. We can't control others, hence we can't control others' intention either. So while we can educate, while we can help, we must not be influenced enough by others and others' actions so that we change our intentions and our direction. But this is easier said than done, right? The social media that we spend our time in today has content that is meant to trigger us, because hate spreads faster than love. This is a known fact, right? If I punch you, you will remember me for longer than if I smile at you. That is the truth. That is, we can't be denying that, right? And that's the reason social media content algorithms are developed such that it's triggering. It invokes one of your five senses, right? That's the reason at Nepa Rudraksha, I recently launched this. Our team recently launched this concept of a community within the app. I mean, we're not trying to rival Meta or trying to rival Snapchat. What we're trying to do here is, if you want to wake up, if you are habituated to scrolling, if you want to look at new content, but you want to look at content that is more based on your, if you want to share things, share opinions, but you don't want those kind of, negative impacts in your mind space that you're securely guarding, but you want to be a part of a larger community. We've created a community inside of Nepa Rudraksha app where a lot of people who are doing their sadhana, who are doing their daily sadhana rituals, daily mantras, daily bhaktis, are able to just sit down and relax. I mean, sit down and share their opinions risk-free, and be confident that you are not, encountering these kind of, influence. I'm not in no way trying to say that, you should leave all social media. What I'm trying to say is, maybe the early mornings, maybe the sadhana period, maybe the most impactful of windows in the day is not meant for you to be influenced by these, and develop your core such that you're not influenced. And the community is a great way to find people, like-minded people, and enrich your mornings.
The community, as I was telling you earlier, has also helped me start reading Shiv Puran, because the team also sends out so much of information. So it's a wonderful way to learn, while I can share, and I can interact with people whom I know are curious and just seekers like me. So it's a wonderful addition. One thing, and you'll understand where I'm coming at. In Kaliyuga, we are influenced. There's good and bad inside of us. There's so much of negativity around, there's so much of bad around, that sometimes it starts impacting our relationship with God. So we need the strength, the perseverance to actually go through it and keep that relationship alive, because this is bigger than us. We cannot actually control this. The only thing we can control is our intention. So to keep it pure, uh, just find the strength. Now, for me personally, finding that strength actually came from accepting my worship phase. So, I'm somebody who likes to do chanting. I'm somebody who likes to sit still. And since I was a kid, because that's what I'd seen growing up, we would talk to God. And when I grew up, a lot of people started getting very offended by that idea, and I eventually stopped doing it. I don't remember why, but that idea of how you can talk to God kind of took it over. But now, when I'm sort of getting older, I'm understanding more and more about, oh, this is what I was missing. I was just missing this sound. I was missing this frequency, this vibration within myself. I've also realized that that is what was giving me strength. But I've never been able to explain this to my friends who don't actually understand sadhana, because for them, sadhana is different, meditation is different. healing is different, yoga is different. For me, it's all one in my head. For me, they're all teaching me the same thing. So if you can help me translate that bit.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is again yoga, right? When we see yoga, the first thing that we'll imagine is someone stretching, right? That's the kind of advertisement that yoga has gotten, and that's the first image, the mental image that most people have, right? And I'm guilty of it sometimes as well. But what yoga actually means is, like I said, unionizing with God, and there are multiple ways that you can do what you explain by your conversations with God or by meditation is conversation is bhakti yoga. When you bhakti yoga is a form of yoga where you feel so connected to the God that you are devotional, where you build personal relationship with God. The way, the worship, the decoration of God, the mantras, the pujas, most of them come from bhakti yoga. There's again, you said meditation. Meditation is more of a dhyana yoga. Dhyana yoga is when you realize that when you're still and when you're silent and when you close your eyes and when you meditate, that's when the divine presents itself to you. That's dhyana yoga. There's also these. This is also a form of yoga. When you and I are talking, this is known as Gyan yoga, where we are philosophizing, where we're talking, where we're finding out, where we're reading. A lot of the people begin their journey from this kind of conversation. And there is also karma yoga. Some might believe that I don't watch any podcast, I don't do any mantras, I don't do anything, but I always do the right thing. I always help people. I'm going to seva. I'm cooking food for others. I'm going to these blood banks. I'm donating my blood. I'm doing selfless acts that don't have a specific purpose of directly benefiting me. I'm doing those. That is karma yoga. What you're seeing now as you evolve in your journey is that all of these are connected. You might enter this room from one of the doors of maybe bhakti yoga door, maybe gyan yoga door, maybe dhyana yoga door, maybe the karma yoga door, but you'll realize that you're entering the same house, and all of these is what completes that structure of yoga. So you will, if you start meditating, you'll slowly start to know that, okay, there are some frequencies that I can chant that elevate my meditation. Then you'll see that I really want to discuss this, I really want to know more about this. That's gyan yoga. You might want to say, after doing all of these practice, I feel like I want to go to a blood bank and donate a few, donate blood. I might want to go to the charity and donate food. I want to help those kids. I want to help these animals. That's karma yoga. That entirety comes when you start this journey. So you can start that journey, and anyone starts this journey from various different fields, but ultimately the purpose is one, which is yoga, which is unionizing with the divine. And that's what you're doing. And for a lot of the people, Rudraksha actually acts as the catalyst of this, right? Bhakti. I can't explain bhakti to you if you're not born in a family where bhakti is there. When you wear Rudraksha, you feel certain energies, which is the first time you interact with what bhakti really feels like. Karma. Coke still does marketing today. I don't think anyone in the world that does not know what Coca-Cola is, but the reason it is doing marketing today is just to be present in our mind, because it understands one thing, is that the more you remember something, the more that becomes your reality. Rudraksha, when you wear it daily, it does provide you with the remembrance of doing the right thing. It's always there. When it's always going to remind you to do the right thing. Your karma yoga is fulfilled by it. Dhyana yoga, we always know that the energies are very essential for you to be able to meditate. Certain blockages in your karma, certain blockages in your chakras, certain blockages in your planets, which is healed by Rudraksha. And lastly, understanding the subject of Rudraksha allows you to understand about various deities, various planets, various Sanatana concepts, various sadhanas, which is again Gyan Yoga. So all of the various yogas that can unionize you with God is, enriched through the use of Rudraksha. Hence, it's known as the world's greatest spiritual tool.
So, what if other people like me who are at one stage and now want to jump to the another, but they don't know how to start? For example, say mantra chanting, they don't know how to start their sadhana. They don't know which mantra to chant, and with the amount of information, they don't know who to look at. what can you do for them?
Yeah. So we definitely have, like I said, the panels of experts who can look into your specific chart if you are not aware. If you know the kind of mantras that you want to do, then we can provide you and recommend you mantras that might work for you at this time. And Rudraksha gives you access to mantras as well. For example, anyone who wants to do Gayatri Sadhana can wear the 18 Mukhi Rudraksha and get automatically initiated to the Gayatri Bij mantras, right? So there is a lot that we can do. But if you just want to start, then, mantras like the Namah Shivaya mantra, like the Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha mantra, the mantras that are very subtle, the Nama mantra, Om Devi Namaha, these kind of mantras you can do and you can start your journey. But if you need more specific guidance, then Nepa Rudraksha is beyond just Rudraksha. It's a place where we answer these questions. We help you. Just reach out to us through WhatsApp, and our team will be more than happy to direct you for free. I mean, if you're interested to change, we will help you.
I think people, when you say that, people may give you a WhatsApp call or a message. But for the people who already have Rudraksh from Nepa and who have been using the Nepa Rudraksh application, we know how much that commitment means to you. Because we have access to various sadhanas. We can customize and we can create our own sadhanas, and the level of effort that goes into it, I can only imagine.
I want to add one thing. Everyone talked about sadhana in recent years, but no one really told you how to do sadhana, right? Everyone was talking about sadhana here and there. I was able to see content of sadhana everywhere on all social media, but no one was even explaining what the word sadhana really means, let alone giving you access. That's the reason at Nepa Rudraksha, even if you buy just 5 Mukhi Rudraksha, if you just wear a 5 Mukhi Rudraksha, you get access to unlimited sadhanas. We tell you the mantras that you need to do, and you can, like you just said, customize your sadhana and actually know what sadhana is, because you get a step-by-step process of being able to do sadhana. And this is only start. We are developing a huge library of sadhana, which is always going to be free for Nepa Rudraksha customers. And, we want to be there with you in this journey of yours.
I do feel the support, because the kind of filters that are there, the amount of understanding that the team brings, understanding of my problems. So it's not just that I'm being given a mantra based on my birth chart. It's that I'm given a mantra based on my birth chart, the Rudraksh that I'm wearing, the day that it is, the deity that is my Ishtadev or my Ishtadevi. I am also, getting access to so many chalisas if I want to do something that I've always been doing since I was a kid. And now you're also giving us the option to choose as per concern or intention. Like if I can't sleep, or if I'm very anxious, or if, I'm looking to be better in my career. And that just blows my mind. Why do you do all of this? Like that has been my question. You actually don't need to, right?
Yeah.
So why take these steps?
The reason is because I want, or we want, as Nepa Rudraksha, the members, the team members, everyone has one wish. All of us desire the same thing, and that is your change, your transformation. The thing that gives us the greatest level of satisfaction is when we see a person smile and say that you have changed our lives, you've brought change, and we will continue to do things that we think will further and stronger that change of yours, the pace of the change. So yes, Rudraksha itself is enough. We don't need to do all of this, but we want to, because we want you to change, and we want you to transform, and we want you to feel connected, and we want you to be happy. When a customer is happy and satisfied, and when their life is enriched, I think the blessings is the greatest currency that any business owner can receive.
Just another tiny question that I have. Another thing that has made your customers really happy was the new campaign that you did. And might I say, with the legendary Ajay Devgn. But a lot of people had questions that why did you choose Ajay Devgn?
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, the campaign, the real Rudraksha campaign, has been a great journey. We did, have Ajay Devgn be the global brand ambassador of Nepa Rudraksha. The reason we chose Ajay Devgn to represent Nepa Rudraksha, the brand with 3 generations of legacy, is because we wanted to choose a partner who is not just talking about their dharma, but actually is proud enough to show that they follow the Sanatana Dharma. And Ajay Devgan, in his own ways, has been very vocal about his devotion and very vocal about his connection with Lord Shiva, and he's also a sadhak and also does use Rudraksha. Hence, that connection was very natural. And the real campaign, we wanted to show a real Shiva Bhakt endorse the real Rudraksha of Nepa Rudraksha, and very proud to have done this campaign. And the ad, the film, the brand film that was created has a very deep message, that it was not random. We have spent days and days and months to bring this content to life, and you have been a pivotal part of bringing that story to life as well, where we are showing a sadhak in different phases of their journey as they evolve, as they face obstacles. The Rudraksha that they wear has been pivotal in helping them cross that boundary and come out evolved and evolved and evolved. And so in that campaign, if you play close attention, Ajay Devgan as a sadhak goes through various challenges, and with the help of Rudraksha, he continues to win, continues to realize, and ultimately transform. So Rudraksh ne Shakti di, Rudraksh ne Shanti di, and Rudraksh ne उनको उनमें ही शिव जगाया. So, the bhakti, the shakti, and the shanti that Rudraksha brought into Ajay Devgan's life has been beautifully captured by this campaign. And it was a pleasure to work with my team and the production to bring this to life. So it's just our effort of capturing transformation in 60 seconds.
And what raw transformation. I think it was so fortunate to actually see somebody so disciplined and somebody so focused and serious about their work perform this out. Because, when Ajay was performing, all the 3 different types of problems that he goes through, physical, mental, then emotional, and then spiritually evolves through all of it, you could tell that he truly believed in it.
Absolutely. And he was the kind of professionalism and kind of commitment to every single shot that he gave was because he really believed in the Rudraksha and its energy, because he had used it. We didn't have to explain it even once what Rudraksha was to him, which was extraordinary. And in the shots of puja and in the shots of Rudraksha, he was very mindful of using it as sacred as the Rudraksha is, because the hero of that video is Rudraksha, and he knew that, which is very special.
Yes, and it's great that you actually made it happen. Because a lot of people who wear Rudraksh, they were so happy to finally see him embrace that side of him. So kudos to that. And I know I've taken a long time. Just one last question to conclude the podcast. The entire story of Rudraksh, of your legacy, 3 generations, so many lives touched, so many things achieved. Rudraksh being the central point of it. Do you feel that is a story of inheritance? Or is that a story of discovery? Or is that just rediscovery happening naturally?
I think it's more than a story. I think it's life. And I'm fortunate to live this. The story has not ended. I would say that this is not fictional. So this is life, and I'm living it, and I'm blessed to live it. I'm always grateful when I wake up and I realize that, Nepa Rudraksha, such an esteemed organization that is doing such an auspicious act of providing Rudraksha to the worldwide seekers. I'm able to bring about change in that organization. I'm still shocked, and I'm still, I wake up grateful, and I feel very responsible. This is a story that has just begun. And I really want and hope that for the rest of my life I'm able to bring change to the millions of lives of people, and make people realize the value of Rudraksha. Sometimes the change, sometimes the hope, sometimes the tool that you're seeking is right in front of you. And, all the radios and all the speakers are, playing and telling you, this is it, this is it, this is it. But until and unless it's time for you to listen, you will not be able to listen. I hope some people do realize, and after this conversation, give Rudraksha a chance, because that is where the real change begins.
Thank you so much, Sukritya,
Thank you, Purva.
for talking to us so much and helping us understand so many aspects. I really hope that through this podcast we're able to explain to you how closely we feel about the work that we do and how much effort is goes into explaining and maintaining the authenticity of Rudraksh that comes to you. I thank Nepa Rudraksha for making sure that knowledge is always there, facts are always there to counter any myth and any scam that is out there in the market, because your transformation really does not need to be complicated. It's simple. Trust facts, go to Vedic experts, and start your story now. Thank you.